G'day, this is Mr. Thompson, and this is part 3 in how to model your truss bridge using Inventor. I was going to make part 3 about doing the drawing of your truss bridge, but I've changed my mind. I'm going to make this one about doing the frame analysis. So we're going to analyze the deformation, that is the displacement of the beams, and the stresses and the forces on the beams under load, using Inventor to do that. So I'm starting with the truss assembly that we built last time. This is the one that's got the I-beams in it, all the joints mitered and notched and trimmed and all that stuff. And all I'm going to do now is I'm going to come up here to frame analysis. So if I click on that to begin frame analysis, okay, now I want to come over here and click on create a simulation. So we're going to do a static analysis. So I'm going to click OK there. I'll just accept that. And here we go. All right, now I'm just going to zoom out a little bit. Now, first thing I need to do is put my supports in. So I'm going to come over here. I'm going to put a couple of pinned supports. So we call that a pin or a hinge support. And I'm going to come over here and I'm going to click. Well, I'm going to click somewhere on this member here. Doesn't matter exactly where, because I mean we want it on the end there, but let me click there and I'll show you what I'm going to do. That says the offset is 28 meters. I know that's a 30 meter long beam, so if I type 30 and click there, okay, it's put it right on the corner now, because it's difficult to actually place it on the corner. So I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to put another pinned support on that beam there, and I'm also going to make that an offset of 30, like so. Good. Okay, now that's my two pinned joints over here, and over this side I want what we call a rolling support, or rolling supports, but what Inventor calls floating supports. So if I come over here, click on floating, and again if I click here and make my offset, this time I'm going to make my offset 0 so that it goes right on the end of that beam. And let's do that again. There, 0. Okay, now if we have a look here, we've already got a force. So, you know, Inventor knows, we've already told Inventor that we've built this out of I-beams. It knows the size of the I-beams, it knows the mass of the I-beam. So it's already included the weight of the bridge itself in our simulation. But we need to add our load. Now, I'm going to have a deck, a concrete deck that goes on top of all those supports there. And on top of that deck, I'm going to have, well, it's a pedestrian bridge, so I'm going to have a live load. So how do we calculate that? So to calculate the load, I just did a little bit of maths here. So what I've done is I've assumed I've got a concrete deck, and I've assumed it's going to be 15 centimeters thick. Now I've just sort of pulled that out of the air. You might want to go and find out how thick a concrete deck should be. And I went and looked up the Queensland guidelines for a live load on a pedestrian bridge. The bridge should be able to withstand a load of 5 kilopascals. So what that 5 kilopascals means is 5,000 newtons per square meter. All right, and the density of concrete, I went and looked this up, is 2,400 kilograms per cubic meter. So we'll use that later on as well. So let's calculate the pedestrian live load first. So the live load is the 5 kilopascals times the deck area. So that's 5,000 by 30 by 6.5. That's the top area of my deck there. And that gives me, well, that gives me that number there. What's that? 975 kilonewtons. So that's the weight of all the pedestrians that the bridge needs to hold. The weight of the concrete then is, well, it's mass times gravity. So your mass is going to be the volume times the density, and then multiply that by G, which is 9.8. So the volume, we've got 30 by 6.5 by 0.15. That's the volume of the slab, times the density of concrete. So 2,400 kilograms per cubic meter, times acceleration due to gravity. And that gives us this number here, 687,960 newtons. So that means that the total load that my bridge, that my truss has to bear, is the concrete plus the pedestrians. So that gives us that load there. Now, how's that load distributed on the I-beams? So I figure the edge I-beams will only carry half as much load as all the other I-beams, because they're on the edge. They've only got a load on they've got a load on one side but not the other side, whereas these guys in the middle, they've got a load on both sides. So I've said the total load is going to be the load on one edge plus the load on the other edge plus 5 members, each carrying twice the load of that the edge beams will carry. So that means if we add all them up, there's 1, 2, and 10. There's 12 times the load of the edge I-beams gives us our total load. And so we can solve that. We say that the load on the edge I-beams will be 138,000 newtons. Now, that's going to be a distributed load. So each beam is 6.5 meters long. So the distributed load on each of those edge members is, there we go, 21,320 newtons per meter. And of course, that's for the edge ones. Those ones in the middle, we said they're going to bear twice as much. So their distributed load will be twice that, which will be 42,640 newtons per meter. So let's add those loads to these beams that are going to be supporting the load. So I'm going to use continuous loads, because that's what we calculated. And let's do the edge ones first. So I'm going to click on this beam here, and it's added a continuous load. Now, here's a trick. Don't look, see down here that says end magnitude. I actually want, if I hover over that line there, I just want a magnitude. I don't want an end magnitude. So I'm just carefully with my mouse, I'm going to bring my mouse around without crossing over. So if I cross over that end line, it changes it to an end magnitude. So if I just click on, if I hover over there, bring it around here. Now, what did I have? I had 21320 newtons per meter. So on one edge. Okay, and on my other edge up here, click there. Oh, I've got to click on continuous load and click on there. And again, being careful not to go over the edge there, because that changes things. I'm going to have a load of, same again, 21320. Okay, like that. Now let's do the ones in the middle here. Let's see. Let's click on that one there. Actually, let me just show you what happens if I move my mouse over here and that changes to end magnitude. When I put my number in, so for this middle one, it's 42640. If I click OK there, see what that does? It does this angled load. Now we don't want that, so let me just double click on that load, because what it's done is it's kept that that as the magnitude of the load and that is the end magnitude. We don't want that, so get rid of that. And let's just put in, what we say, 42640. Okay, all right. And let's do all the other ones just quickly then. There's that one coming over here. What did we say? 42640. Okay, I'll do the rest in fast motion. Okay, so now my bridge is fully loaded up. Okay, now let's do the simulation. So I'm just going to click on here on simulate, and hopefully it'll come up with no errors. Terrific, that's done. Okay, so my simulation is finished and I've got my results here. Now by default, my results are showing displacement. So you can see here the red is the maximum displacement there. And so the maximum displacement's in the middle there on these cross beams. So out of all of my truss, that's where I'm displacing the most. And I can come up here and I can see the maximum displacement I've got is 0.03399 meters. So what's that? That's about 3.5 or 3.4 centimeters. That's probably a little bit much. I probably don't want, although if I think about the whole beam, if it only dips by 3.5 centimeters, on one hand you might think, well, that's not a lot for a 30-meter long bridge, but I think that's a bit marginal. I probably don't want quite that much. So, I might think about maybe putting some extra cross beams across the bottom of that bridge to help share that load, or maybe put some larger I-beams across the bottom there. So that's a modification that I might want to do based on this analysis. All right, hey, this is pretty cool. Have a look. If I click animate up here and then click the play button, and you can see it animates the bend, so you can see how it's bending like that. And I can move that around, and I can have a look, from front view. You can see and now of course this displacement here is highly exaggerated. In fact, you can adjust how much it exaggerates up here. You can make it the adjustment. You can exaggerate it by ×5 or actual. So the actual, you can't even see the actual. So the default is adjusted by 1. So it's an exaggerated deformation, but it gives you the idea of what's going on. And of course, let's get that animation happening again. There we go. And you can look at that from any angle you want. So there we go. You can see the deformation happening up the top here. Not as much up there, doesn't go red. The maximum deformation is down here, down the bottom. All right, let's see what else we need to know. Now the other thing that's really interesting is the force, or not the force. Well, we can look at the forces. So in the X and the Y and the Z. So we can look at those. So you can double click on one of those there and you can see the forces. But more than the forces is the stresses. So if we look at normal stress and we click on the ones that we're really interested in, well, S max. So we can look at stresses, minimum stresses, stresses in different dimensions, axial stresses, but this S max, that's the maximum stress experienced on any member. And you can see again, as we'd expect, where we've got the most deformation there, where we're carrying the most load, is where we're getting our maximum stress. Now, this stress here is 205 megapascals. So that's the maximum stress on my bridge. Now, the yield stress for mild steel is about 240 megapascals. So I could make a pretty good argument there that this bridge is within spec. So when I put that loading on the bridge, it's going to handle the stress, but then I could also, but when I look at my displacement and I see 3.5 centimeters of displacement, maybe I'm a little bit concerned about that. I think I am actually a little bit concerned about that. So I would actually add some more cross beams or make my cross beams bigger. What else might you want to look at? You might want to look at shear stresses, I guess. So again, you can see now my shear stress here is about 50 megapascals and about 50 megapascals. I wouldn't be worried about that. And then in the X direction, we've got much smaller shear stresses. So for me, that S max, that's a pretty nice value because it's it's within spec. Maybe I'd want a little bit more margin. I don't know. I think the spec for my bridge has already got some margin built in, so I think I'm pretty happy with that. But for me, the real worry is this displacement value. So look, there's lots of other things you can calculate, but they're the main ones I think you want to look at. So displacement, the S max normal stress, and perhaps the shear stresses. That's what you want to have a look at to analyze your results. All right, I think that'll do. So that's part 3 done. And the next video, I'll have a look at how do we actually do a tech drawing of your truss.